the medicinal use. I know this is a controversial topic, but I'm going to jump into the science and actually something else called the endocannabinoid system, which you're going to be surprised about some of the other superfoods and herbs that actually affect this same system that cannabis does here as well. But hey, I'd love to start off the show by giving you a shout out. Hey, let me know the city you're from, the state you're from, the country you're from, and I'll give you a shout out here on Facebook Live. Also, again, let me do me a favor and help me spread this word. You know, there is a lot of false beliefs about cannabis and some of the compounds in there. And I'm going to break those down and really talk about how to benefit your health using it and not harm your health by using cannabis. So take a minute right now, punch that share button, click that love button. Help me spread the truth that food is medicine, and if herbs are used properly, they're the most powerful form of medicine of all food substances that we can consume. So we'll dive in and talk about that here as well. So again, we're going to be talking about cannabis, CBD, THC, CBD, the endocannabinoid system, and a lot of other superfoods here that you're going to be surprised can actually affect this certain system in your body here as well. Somebody here wants me to talk about it for pets. I will do that here as well. All right, let's see who's joining me. We've got Peter Corbin in Hill City, South Dakota. Hey, Peter, thanks for joining me here today. We have Sandy in Gig Harbor, Washington. We have Michelle Lindenberg who says, hey, Dr. Axe. Lisa Wilson says, are there side effects? I'll answer that question. All herbs have benefits and side effects. Yes, all foods do as well. Gina says, hey, from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She said cannabis can save lives. Cindy says Awesomeness Pharmacy hates this type of education. Yes, I'm sure they do here as well. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me again. Let me know the city you're from, the state you're from, and the country you're from. I'll give you a shout out here on Facebook Live. I know people are joining me from all over the globe and the world right now here as well. And this is a topic, I'll just tell you, it's very controversial. But I always feel like as a doctor, I want to be able to reveal the truth of what does traditional Chinese medicine say about it? What does Ayurveda say about it? And then what does the latest scientific research say today about cannabis? And I'm going to share that here with you today. So let's dive in. Now, the first thing you need to know about cannabis and CBD, they're different things, okay? So when we have a cannabis plant, there's many different species. You've got sativa, you've got indicas, you've got ruderalis. There's the hemp plant, which I don't want to get into all the details, but there's actually even misconceptions where the government doesn't always necessarily know what hemp is and the different types of hemp or the parts of the plant that have some of the psychoactive components. But here's what you need to know. Cannabis contains two main compounds that have been shown in science to have therapeutic benefits. THC and CBD. Now listen, there are other cannabinoids like CBN and some others, but these are the two primary ones we're going to discuss today, THC and CBD. Here's what you need to know. THC is the one that has the psychoactive effect. So people that we typically have joked around and seen about movies today, they're getting high and people are having hallucinogenic effects. That is from the compound called THC. They're of these two compounds. Now, CBD acts differently. It has effect on the body, but it's more of a relaxing effect. It's very calming to the body, and we're going to talk about this. Now, for recreational use, most people over the past 100 years here in the United States of America, farmers have bred and hybridized different types of cannabis to yield really high levels of THC. Okay, that's what most people are aware of, and when they think about cannabis. Here's the truth, though: if you look at certain types of cannabis, certain especially types of indica blends or ruderalis especially, they tend to be higher in CBD. And so again, most of us, yes, we're aware that most of these plants are higher in THC, but for the most part, they should have a generous blend of both THC and CBD. And when you have a blend, here's something that's important to know. When you have higher levels of CBD in cannabis, it actually slightly lessens or dampens the effect of THC or helps balance out how it affects your body. Let me give you a great example of this. If you consume coffee, right? We all know what coffee is. You know there's multiple types of compounds in coffee. Let me name a few of them. You have caffeine, you have theanine, and you also have certain cannabinoids. Do you know that? And coffee has essential oils, it has cannabinoids, it has a lot of different things. So here's the thing you got to know. When you're consuming coffee, if it's sprayed with chemicals and if it's bred a certain way, it's very high in caffeine and it's very low in L-theanine. Now, theanine is the part of coffee that helps relax and it helps balance out caffeine. So have you ever drinking a certain cup of coffee somewhere and you got very jittery, maybe your eyes got red, you just felt like, man, this thing kind of has me on edge, it has me almost a little jittery. That's because the coffee you drank was probably very poor quality, had high levels of caffeine, but it wasn't farmed properly, so it had low levels of theanine. So it had this stimulating effect without a balancing effect to sort of calm the nervous system. So again, if coffee is very, very high quality, it's going to have caffeine, but it's also going to have theanine and other essential oils in coffee that actually help balance out the body and give it you an energy, but it's an even energy. It's a good energy, not a jittery energy. Well, it's the same thing with cannabis. Here's what you got to know. When cannabis has THC and CBD in more equal ratios, what it's going to do is it's going to have a more calming effect. Now listen, I want to mention some of the ratios here, what they may be good for, and what these two individual compounds may benefit. If somebody is struggling with chronic pain, let me give you an example of this. If somebody has disc pain or nerve pain, I'll tell you, there's something about nerve pain that most things can't really touch. Now listen, turmeric is great, right? Ginger is fantastic. Galangal is great. But fish oil is great, but a lot of these things, they'll reduce inflammation. But if somebody's struggling with chronic disc pain, nerve pain, or let's say somebody just tore their ACL or their shoulder, they got major pain, well, the compound that's most therapeutic is going to be THC. THC is very therapeutic for chronic pain. And I would say nerve pain or chronic pain is where THC is the most effective. Now listen, I know I have people watching this video who might also be saying, Dr. Axe, I think that cannabis should be completely banned and outlawed. People can use pharmaceuticals instead. And I do want to say this, I want to share this with you. I've had friends in high school who were addicted to cannabis that I knew, and it ruined their life. I remember I knew kids that were star basketball players, soccer players, football players, and I got addicted and it ruined their life. So listen, I'm completely aware of that and sympathize with that result. If somebody has a addictive personality, you know what? They need to be very cautious. People need to be overseeing them and working with them. But listen, whether it's THC or opioids, which are worse, long-term use, or other painkillers that cause your heart to explode like different pharmaceuticals in the past, all things have side effects. All of these things, painkillers, have addictive potential. So it's something to be aware of, to note that, again, when I talk about cannabis, I want to say this as well. And somebody says THC is not addictive. No, THC is not addictive. But listen, everything in general, if it's getting rid of a certain symptom for somebody, let me say this. If somebody is struggling with lack of community in their life or lack of love or relationship, but they're trying to, or pain, let's say they've got emotional pain. Listen, people cover up and deal with emotional pain with sugar. They deal with it with dairy. They deal with it with food. They deal with it with, yes, you can deal with it with cannabis. Yes, you can. THC. You can deal with it with an anti-anxiety drug or antidepressant drug. But the truth is, all of us should be going and instead figuring out what's the root cause. Why am I feeling this? And then in going and addressing that root cause. So again, I wanted to say that listen, in all things that I teach, I want people to get to the root cause of their disease or emotional imbalance to really be set free and heal. Okay? So let's go back here. Again, THC is the most effective for chronic pain. And I would argue this, you look at 30,000 people, or the amount of people that die per year from opioid drugs addictions, it's a much more damaging drug in its side effects long term, and traditional Chinese medicine will tell you that, compared to cannabis, if it's especially in a balanced and the right type of ratio there as well. So here's the thing, there's a lot of people that are worried about cannabis use, but I will tell you, today we have a drug problem in America, but it's not cannabis. The drug problem in America today is pharmaceutical drugs prescribed by everyday doctors. The Klonopin is a great example, an anti-anxiety drug. Opioids are a great example. People that are taking these drugs that are actually, because they're synthetic and they don't work with your body's chemistry naturally, they are far more damaging and addictive long term than natural substances like cannabis. And people can argue with me on that, but again, it's the absolute truth. So again, here's the thing to know. You got chronic pain, higher THC cannabis can help. If you have almost every other condition though, doing a balance, or I would say maybe even a 1-to-1 ratio, or a higher CBD ratio of a cannabis plant is going to be more therapeutic. And here's the deal. In clinical studies, CBD has been shown to be very beneficial for calming the nervous system. If you've got chronic anxiety and depression, doing a cannabis strain with both of these together is typically the best for anxiety and depression. If somebody has, let's say, an issue like digestive issues, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, they'll want to do a high CBD strain, higher CBD. Somebody with epilepsy, Parkinson's, any type of neurological issue that's not pain related, higher CBD strain, whether it's a 1-to-1, a 1-to-2, a 1-to-4, a 1-to-24, like Charlotte's Web is one strain that's very CBD dominant that's been shown to potentially benefit people with epilepsy and seizures. But again, we know that CBD, so think about THC, it's more psychoactive, it sort of dulls nerve pain and dulls things, whereas CBD is more, it's very calming to the body. It calms when your nervous system goes into a sympathetic state, that fight or flight response. A lot of us live in that every day, right? We're in traffic jams, we're rushing to and from work or bringing kids to soccer practice or whatever it is. We're in this high state, emotional stress. CBD really can act on the sympathetic nerve system to calm the body. But again, I do want to say this in general, even if it's a 1-to-24 ratio, these two compounds act synergistically, and almost all the time, if you're doing some form of cannabis, you're better off doing them in some ratio together, not in complete isolation. I truly believe as well, most people today out there using high THC strains, what would be, now listen, I am not, hey, listen, again, I'm talking as a doctor here, I am not promoting habitual recreational use of cannabis. So listen to this. So again, cannabis, it has all of these therapeutic benefits. Digestive system, brain function, okay, even issues like MS, chronic nerve pain. But here's the truth. In traditional Chinese medicine, if you do any herb, it's going to have a benefit to the body to a point, but when you start going over that benefit, it's going to then start having negative benefits on the body. Cannabis in general, especially, I'm talking even more, now listen, you can do more CBD long term in the right proportions than you can THC. But people that are smoking high THC marijuana to get high recreation, now listen, the side effect of somebody doing it once a week or less, once a month, is going to be very, very small, if not any. But if somebody is smoking marijuana or cannabis multiple days a week, or forbid every day, for long periods of time, years and years on end, what it starts to do, so think about this. When somebody does cannabis, the side effects are dry eyes, dry mouth. It dries the body, okay? It dries up your fluids. You need those fluids to nourish your blood. You need those fluids to nourish your organs. You need your organs to stay at a certain level of moisture within your body. So one of the things, if somebody is chronically using a high THC cannabis, it's going to dry their body out inside. Okay, now you might not just have a dry mouth or dry eyes, but again, it's going to affect the organs. It can affect your chi, and it can dry out your blood. Now, I know those are all Chinese medicine terms. A lot of people don't know what chi is, but chi is essentially your energy and your vitality that essentially nourishes and energizes every organ in your entire body. So it's important to note as we're talking about this, are there side effects of cannabis use? Long-term use? Yes, there absolutely is. Here's the other thing to know about THC. THC has an effect on the brain that in the short term can actually open up your mind to think outside of the box. It actually unlocks areas of your brain to allow you to have more creative thinking. Here's the problem. If it's done more than once a week, most likely, what starts to happen is it actually starts to, hey, it might open the creativity when you're doing it, but the side effect is it sucks an area of your chi, part of what's called shen, which is essentially your motivation. Now, have you ever seen that? And most of us are aware, again, if you watch movies or different things, people are aware that people that overuse cannabis start to lack motivation, right? Well, people have written about this in Chinese medicine and Ayurveda for 5,000 plus years and saying cannabis is great for, again, occasional use as a form of medicine once a week to relieve anxiety. It's great for, for relaxing that digestive system, really calming the sympathetic nerve system, that fight or flight state. So again, if somebody's doing it as a form of just naturally supporting their body once a week, but listen, if somebody, and now listen, I know in medicine oftentimes it's used for a long period of time. And so listen, if somebody's going to use it for a month or 2 months as a natural painkiller, that's fine. But know if it's going 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, every single day, it's going to affect motivation, so your shen and chi, and it can dry out areas of your body. So listen, I'm here to be real with everybody. There are great benefits of cannabis, especially when it's used responsibly as medicine, along with CBD, but long-term overuse absolutely does have side effects there as well. But again, I will say this, if we're pitting cannabis, and your choice is to use cannabis as your natural therapy versus synthetic pharmaceutical drugs, I will tell you that using cannabis in the right proportions will have lesser long-term side effects than opioid drugs, anti-anxiety drugs, antidepressants, and other painkillers, in my professional opinion, working with lots of patients on supporting their brain and nerve system, dealing with patients with anxiety, digestive disturbances, and other conditions there as well. All right. So let's talk about something else here, and I think this is going to surprise you. By the way, if you're enjoying this live broadcast, this is the first time I've really ever dug deep on this topic. But again, if you're enjoying this live broadcast, take a minute right now, punch that share button, click the love button as well. Help me spread the word and the truth about CBD and cannabis here as well. All right, here. So let's look at a few things here. Now, there's something in your body called your endocannabinoid system, or endocannabinoids. Now, a lot of people, when they think of cannabis, they think, well, there's this compound that in cannabis that affects the body unlike any other. Well, here's the truth. Did you know there are compounds in essential oils and other plants that affect your endocannabinoid system? What your endocannabinoid system is, it's a system in your body that's really connected with areas of your brain and your digestive tract and certain other organs that really deals with neurotransmitters for the most part. Now, when somebody is pregnant, actually it affects the endocannabinoid system pre and post pregnancy. This really is related to your memory. So the endocannabinoid, like for instance, here's an example. Let's say you smell something. Let's say you smell flowers or fresh cut grass. Like when I smell fresh cut grass today, it reminds me of playing soccer growing up. We'd go and there'd be fresh cut grass, and it reminds me of playing soccer for me. Or you smell chimney smoke, it reminds you of Christmas. Those smells that then go to your memory bank that trigger that memory, that's all part of your endocannabinoid system. If you're running, you're out there running and you get what's called the runner's high. You know, you go out for a good 3-mile run or a 30-minute run, you get done at the end, man, you're just happy. You know what that is? Those are neurotransmitters being affected in your endocannabinoid system, and there are certain superfoods in your body that actually affect this endocannabinoid system that can improve your memory, that can improve your energy, your motivation, and hormones in your body. And I want to touch on these. Number one, essential oils, rosemary, ylang ylang, black pepper, clove, and cinnamon all contain compounds that affect your endocannabinoid system. So you think, and think about this, rosemary oil, what's its greatest benefit? Now, people tend to think of it thickening your hair, which it does, But the biggest benefit may in fact be supporting your body's memory, okay, and reducing neural inflammation. Now, rosemary oil, a lot of people don't realize that, but it's the #1 essential oil for your memory. So again, rosemary oil, rosmaric acid is one of those main compounds. Black pepper oil. Do you know black pepper oil is the #1 oil to help you overcome addictions? So a lot of benefits there with that because of how it affects the endocannabinoid system. Ylang ylang is known to help you experience more of forgiving others and more gratefulness and happiness. It's the good mood essential oil, ylang ylang. And then clove and cinnamon both contain compounds that are very invigorating and inspiring there as well that affect that system. Now I want to talk about 2 other essential oils that have the largest components that affect the endocannabinoid system. And listen to this, 2 of these, copaiba and holy basil oil, these 2 essential oils or herbs, plants. Copaiba has 53% compounds that affect the endocannabinoid system, and holy basil 40%. So we know that these 2, copaiba and holy basil, are the 2, if you really want to affect your mood and your this system in your body and balancing your hormones naturally, copaiba and holy basil are the best essential oils and herbs to do. You know, I use holy basil oil all the time. It's the #1 essential oil that Chelsea and I are diffusing in our house on a regular basis. This is a natural adaptogen. This is one of the 5 main herbs used in Ayurvedic medicine, if not the #1 herb used in Ayurveda, holy basil, also known as tulsi, and it's been shown to have great effects for longevity and even lifespan. And again, think about it, 40% of it affects this endocannabinoid system, and again, copaiba 43. So if you want to use 2 oils that really affect it, copaiba, holy basil, and then again, rosemary and ylang ylang are 2 big ones as well. All right, here's another one, cacao. You ever wonder why when you eat chocolate, it makes you happy? I just want to just everyone agree with me on this or disagree is fine. There's something about chocolate, okay? Now, you can eat a lot of different desserts. Hey, cheesecake is great. Carrot cake is fine, okay, if it's made with, you know, coconut flour, almond flour, and coconut milk, and raw honey. So those are fine. And those taste great. But would you agree that there's something about when you eat chocolate, it's a little bit more uplifting in your mood. It just changes your biochemistry a little bit more. Why is that? Cacao or dark chocolate actually is very high and contains compounds that affect the endocannabinoid system, which is great for your body, great for those neuroendorphins that boost your mood there as well. So cacao, again, people think, man, cannabis, it's the only thing that affects this system in your body. No, there are lots of other superfoods and plants. Cacao is one of them. Or coffee, right? Now, I can tell you I'm married to a coffee lover or espresso lover, my wife, Dr. Chelsea. And you know what 2 of her favorite things in the entire world are? Cacao and coffee. Coffee, another beverage that affects your overall your overall endocannabinoid system as well. And again, you guys can see this, right? These foods subtly affect your body in different ways than other foods. So cacao, coffee. You know, just think about it. You smell coffee in the morning, and it's like you see a smile on somebody's face, you know? So again, that's part of the reason why. And by the way, let me say this about coffee and cacao. Those are 2 of the foods that are the richest in essential oil-based compounds in the world as well. Truffles, right? Truffles, now, now the cost of truffles is high. The benefits are tremendous. It probably, excuse me, probably more than any other food used in Italian cooking. It's probably the priciest, but it has amazing benefits for your hormones. In fact, truffles have been shown to naturally increase human growth hormone in clinical studies. So if somebody's trying to look younger or improve vitality and age, truffles really are amazing. Just simply smelling truffles have amazing therapeutic properties, part of it because of how it affects the endocannabinoid system. Another essential oil here is helichrysum. Helichrysum affects that system. Omega-3 fats do as well. It's part of why it supports the brain and nervous system. There are clinical studies showing that omega-3 fats are great for ADHD and depression and anxiety because of the endocannabinoids in wild-caught fish like EPA and DHA and how those affect the body. Maca. Okay, the adaptogen maca root flower. Now, sometimes I've added a little bit to a smoothie in the morning, but maca root can be great. There's some concern for people, especially if it's raw, for their thyroid health. But again, a small amount of maca, if it's cooked, should not be an issue. Kava as well. Kava is a natural painkiller, right? It also is a natural mood uplifter, but kava is another one. And then echinacea is another. So again, you can see here, probably the biggest ones that affect your body, though, are these top 5. The essential oils of rosemary, we talked about ylang-ylang, black pepper, clove, cinnamon. Copaiba and holy basil are going to be the strongest 2 on this list, followed by cacao, coffee, and truffles there as well that affect this system in your body. But again, remember, the THC and the CBD are the ones that are by far the strongest in terms of how they affect that endocannabinoid system there as well. Would love to see if you guys have questions here. By the way, have you been enjoying this live training? And maybe, I've had so many people ask me, Dr. Axe, what's the truth about cannabis? Should it be completely illegal? Should it be completely legalized? What's the answer? And what I'm just sharing with you today is, here's the truth from a medicinal standpoint of how it affects the body. Again, if you've loved this video, take a minute, punch the love button, click the share button. Help me share this truth, because there are millions of people still that have misconceptions about cannabis, and they think about its only use ever is for when somebody wants to, get high, and also, they see the side effects of maybe somebody overusing it and it affecting their motivation. What they're not aware of, though, is how when it's used, THC, a high CBD strain of cannabis, can be therapeutic for people and really help probably be the top thing somebody could take medicinally for somebody with IBS or inflammatory bowel disease, for people with chronic pain, disc bulges and that type of chronic issues, somebody who has MS, somebody who has Parkinson's disease, somebody struggling with seizures and epilepsy, somebody with chronic anxiety and depression. The list goes on. There are lots of benefits here if somebody is using this properly. Now, I want to say this. If somebody just in general is looking for benefits that somebody can do on a more regular basis, doing just something like a CBD oil can be fantastic. CBD is derived from hemp oil. So even if you're just buying a straight up hemp oil, most hemp oil is high in CBD, which typically can help insomnia, help you sleep better, and really just calm your body, calm anxiety. And listen, most of us are living in a high sympathetic state, right? That fight or flight response. When you live in that high state, cortisol gets high until actually eventually crashes later on, and that's a whole nother thing. But when you live in that high sympathetic state over time, one of the biggest benefits of doing a cannabis, especially a 1-to-1 ratio or very balanced, is it can calm that anxiety, allow you to wind down. And again, remember, there are side effects of overusing cannabis that I talked about, of it affecting your motivation, especially, and then also drying out the internal part of your body, especially your blood in certain areas there. But if used properly, there can be a lot of benefits there as well. All right. Let's see here. So, Dr. Axe, do you recommend CBD oil before bed? Shelly, it depends on how you like to use it. Now, I actually have some CBD oil I use here in the house, and I will tend to do it. Typically, I do it in the evening. I tend to do it just sort of after dinner and just sort of calm and wind down after night. And I use other things with it. Sometimes I'll diffuse some lavender. I'll drink some chamomile tea with it sometimes as well. But again, yes, I use CBD in the evening. But listen, if somebody is struggling with anxiety during the day, they can use it during the day as well. Somebody says what kind? Listen, I can't promote a single brand of CBD oil. I do think there's a lot of good companies out there. But again, I would look for one that is more potent, and maybe as the carrier oil, they're using MCT oil or olive oil. Just something more natural as the carrier oil, I think, would be important to look for. Where should we buy CBD? Again, I would go to your local health food store. That's where I would typically go. Again, people can buy it online, but go to your local health food store. Some carry them, some don't, but many local health food stores are now actually carrying CBD oil. Can you mix with medicinal mushrooms? Amy asked that question. Absolutely. Now, I'm not talking about the psychoactive mushrooms. I'm talking about reishi mushroom, lion's mane. In fact, listen to this remedy. If somebody wants to support their brain and neurological system, no matter what the health issue is, I would recommend a blend of lion's mane mushroom, CBD oil, and rosemary, and then a high-fat diet, maybe a ketogenic diet or just a diet where you're adding in a lot of healthy fat. But if somebody has MS or just looking to use these as neurotropics or whatever it is, I do think that lion's mane mushroom combined with CBD is tremendous for the brain and nervous system. So great question there. Somebody says it helps my joints and helps relax me. Kelly said that. So yeah, great points there as well. If you really want to support your joints, CBD as well. Yeah, CBD is good for your joints, especially when used with turmeric or fermented turmeric as well, or a turmeric essential oil. But those would be great. Turmeric oil with CBD oil. Wow. Talk about a great remedy there for your joints there as well. Will CBD help with asthma? It can. I also think with asthma, seeing an acupuncturist or chiropractors can improve posture and support the airways. Acupuncturists can move chi and really help open up the airways. But consuming a diet, I have a diet for asthma. If you just Google search online, Dr. Axe Asthma, I have a diet online that would be very good for asthma. You can check out there as well. All right, guys, remember, if you are, somebody said, what about for a dog with cancer? If your dog has cancer, I would highly recommend them doing bone broth with lots and lots of turmeric with some CBD oil. But yes, that absolutely can be used by dogs in that way there as well. CBD can help the lymphatic system. Let me think about that. Let me just say this. When you are emotionally stressed and you're living in this high sympathetic state of emotional stress, here's what you got to know. It is damaging every organ in your body. If you are emotionally stressed out all the time, it's affecting everything. So is it affecting so in Chinese medicine, what's connected with the lymphatic system is the emotions of frustration, impatience, and anger. So if you are really impatient or really frustrated with a situation, then taking some CBD or a blended CBD THC cannabis to calm your nervous system, yes, it absolutely could help that way. In addition, if you want to get that area flowing, doing more bitter herbs like citrus would be great, milk thistle, bupleurum. Those herbs are also going to support liver, gallbladder. Artichokes. Artichokes are amazing for gallbladder and lymph as well. So we're talking, lymph and gallbladder are very connected in liver and Chinese medicine. So that's why I'm answering it like that as well. And by the way, if you guys want to learn more, I've written some in-depth articles on CBD. You can do a Google search online, Dr. Axe Cannabis or Dr. Axe CBD, and I quote some of this stuff. I get into more details. And if you're not signed up for my health newsletter, go to draxe.com and sign up. I'm going to be writing an article very in-depth here in the next few weeks and publishing it, so look out for it in the month of March. And I'm going to go through all of these plus more. I'm going to go do an in-depth article on the endocannabinoid system, a diet related to how to boost the health of your body using some of these different things, and also doing an article on the best ratios of THC and CBD for different conditions there as well, there to consider there as well. All right. Hey guys, thanks everybody who's watched this. Thanks everybody who shared this and loved the video. Thanks for being on mission with me. You know, people need to know the truth about cannabis. Listen, it is a natural medicine. When it comes to natural medicine, it needs to be used with wisdom. Again, overuse of it recreationally, whether you like it or not, if you're using it recreationally, overuse of it in that form can harm your blood. It can harm your motivation, your heart shen and qi, known in Chinese medicine. But if somebody's using it in placement of pharmaceuticals, if somebody's using it on occasion to deal with the anxiety, or if somebody's just using just CBD isolated in those forms used with wisdom and as a natural form of medicine, it can be used in a very healthy way. It can have tremendous health effects on the body there as well. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this live video. Again, if you want to learn more, just search my name, Dr. Josh Axe, on Google or on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed here to this Facebook channel, I got a lot more videos coming out on essential oils and superfoods and cannabis and a whole lot more. So don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys here on the next Facebook Live. Thanks for watching.